What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success, and in this video here, what we're gonna do is talk about the production side of running a clothing brand. If you're just starting out, should you get your clothing made overseas because it's cheaper, or should you make your clothing domestically and local to wherever you are? We're gonna answer questions like, if you're just starting out, should you buy a screen printing machine and actually print the stuff yourself, or find a local screen printing facility close to you? I think this video is gonna be really helpful for you. Should be a good one. Here it comes. This video here is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd. Now, if your clothing brand is in need of designs, I highly recommend you check out Design Crowd. Design Crowd's a website that helps entrepreneurs crowdsource amazing designs from designers all around the world. For a special $100 VIP offer for Apparel Success viewers only, head over to www.designcrowd.com/apparel to learn more, or simply use the discount code APPAREL when you post a project on Design Crowd. All right, so just starting with this video here, I want to let you know that whatever advice I give you is based on my own experience, and it's based on what I think that startup clothing brand should do, and it's not necessarily fact. So if you end up doing something else, that's completely fine. This is just my advice, my opinion, okay? So when it comes to, whether you should actually produce your clothing overseas or whether you should get it made locally, here are my thoughts on that, all right? I think that when you're just starting up to go overseas, usually the incentive to go overseas is because you can get a lower cost per unit if you decide to go to China rather than making it here. But what ends up happening a lot of the time when you go overseas is that even though you can get a lower cost per unit, you have to order a higher minimum order quantity. So in order to get that lower cost per unit, you're going to have to buy more quantity and you're gonna have to hold on to more inventory. And my thoughts on this is that when you're just starting up, and you don't even know if you can sell your clothing yet, I think this is really, really risky, and it's not necessarily a smart move, okay? And here's why. Because you don't know if your clothing's gonna sell to your market yet. You may feel like it will, but you don't really know how the honest market will truly respond. At the same time, let's say you're making your clothing for $5 per unit in China, and you have to order 500 t-shirts there. That's going to cost you $2,500 if my math is right. And if you decided to make those locally for say $10 per unit, which is $5 more per unit, but you can actually you can get say 100 shirts made rather than 500 shirts, you're only going to spend $1,000. Okay, so even though it's a higher cost per unit, your upfront cost is going to be a lot less, and there's not as much risk, and you'll also be able to likely get a better feel of whether you can sell your product. And then if it starts to work and your company actually starts to sell like crazy, okay, you should only go overseas once you have that predictable sales coming in. You know that you've actually, got this predictable amount of movement from your product, rather than just going overseas at the beginning, stacking up on inventory, and then realizing, that t-shirt or that design that you got made isn't selling at all, okay? So my suggestion, and like I said at the beginning of this video, you can do whatever you want to do. My suggestion is that you make your stuff locally at first, and then once you become a bigger company and you're actually selling and you can predict how much you're going to sell, then you move overseas to get the lower cost per unit, because you're going to need a higher amount of inventory anyways. I also want to let you know that when you decide to place an order overseas, the turnaround time is way longer than if you order it locally, okay? If you order overseas, it can take like 3 to 6 months to actually get your product to you. Whereas if you order locally, it can only take 2 to 3 weeks to actually get your stuff to you, and you're off to the races. All right, so the next question is, if you decide to actually do this locally and domestically, how do you go about doing it? Do you, find a local screen printing facility? Do you buy the screen printing machine and do it yourself? Or should you use companies like Printful and the print on demand services? And I'm gonna share my thoughts on this, and like I've said at the beginning of this video, whatever my ideas are on this, I realize that you can do it different ways. This is just my advice and what's really worked for my own clothing brand. Now, my suggestion here, if you're just starting out, is to actually find a local screen printing facility that's local to you and work with them and have them screen print all of your clothing for you, okay? And they'll handle that whole side of the business for you. And the reason why I say to do this and to not actually buy screen printing machine for yourself is because once you actually get going, you start making a lot of sales, it's going to be a lot of work on top of the upfront cost that it takes to actually buy the machine and to learn how to use the machine. But On top of that, once you start riding this out and things actually start picking up, printing all of this on your own all the time and on top of running the Instagram account and, you know, handling all the marketing and all the emailing and all the, you know, all of the other business aspects, it's going to be a lot of work to maintain everything. And if you can just get somebody else to do it at a low cost, which is what we do, we work with 2 local screen printing facilities, and they're absolutely amazing, okay? Their turnaround time's like 1 to 2 weeks. And they print everything. They know exactly what they're doing. We work with them. They explain to us the little details of exactly what they're doing. And I highly suggest you do this if you're just starting out. Now, I want to let you know that if you've already gone down the route of buying a machine and learning how to do it all on your own, and you're doing it all on your own, that's absolutely amazing, okay? I'm simply talking to the people who are just starting out and they really don't know what they're doing in terms of printing and stuff, and they just want to get the ball rolling on their business. That's who I'm talking to, okay? Now, when it comes to actually screening the facilities around you and deciding on which one you want to go with, there are a couple things that you should look for, okay? You want to get a low MOQ, a low minimum order quantity. And the screen printing facilities that we use, the one's MOQ is 100 units and the other one's is only 50, okay? So we can literally print 50 units of one design, test it out into our, into our audience, see how it does, and if it doesn't do well, we discontinue that product and we just do other things, okay? So you want to get a low MOQ, and we still manage to keep our shirts under $10. Now, I'm going to share with you the names of the screen printing facilities and the companies that we use. They're not paying me to do this. I just want to share it with you so that you can check them out and see the type of, facility that we work with, so that you can think, okay, well, this sort of looks like one that's local to me, and they're doing sort of this similar thing, okay? So the first one's called Astro Screen Printing, okay, and they're in Etobicoke, and I'll put the link here. And the other one's called Avid Apparel, okay, and we work with these two for different reasons. We restock some of our stuff at Astro Screen Printing, and we get a lot of our new designs and a lot of our more, specific apparel made at Avid Apparel because they do more like technical things. We've actually sat down and had really long meetings with Avid Apparel as well. There you have it. I hope that this video really helped confirm some of the ideas that you already had in terms of the direction that you want to go with producing your own clothing for your own clothing brand. And if you haven't already, I suggest you check out my free marketing masterclass at www.apparelsuccess.com/masterclass. It's 100% free. I suggest you check it out if you haven't already. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group that we have going on for Apparel Success. There's a link in the description below. Follow that link, join us in the group. We're a bunch of clothing brand owners all in there to support each other and answer each other's questions. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.